You probably think all pizza chains are safe, quick, and a sure win for dinner. But what if I told you some of the most popular names are secretly serving up disappointment, and in some cases, even putting your health at risk? In this video, we're exposing 7 big pizza chains you should avoid, and I'll reveal the 2 that actually live up to the hype. Trust me, one wrong slice could cost you more than just calories. Let's kick things off with number 7, Little Caesars. It's the so-called hot and ready deal that proves cheap doesn't always mean worth it. The moment you crack open that bright orange box, the first thing that hits you isn't the smell of fresh pizza, it's a wave of grease, enough to shine a pair of shoes. The crust folds like soggy cardboard, the cheese has more in common with melted plastic than real dairy, and the pepperoni glistens with a chemical sheen that makes you wonder, is this even food? But here's the real kicker, that $5 bargain comes with hidden costs. Former employees have admitted online that the dough arrives frozen, shipped in bulk, and gets tossed into ovens by staff who barely receive any training. One worker even joked, if you can use a microwave, you're already overqualified. Doesn't exactly scream craft pizza, does it? And let's talk nutrition. Brace yourself. Just one slice of Little Caesars pepperoni pizza can pack over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. That's more salt than some adults should eat in an entire meal. And honestly, who eats only one slice? 2 or 3 pieces, and you're already staring down a blood pressure spike that could rival a fast food binge. The shortcuts don't stop there. Workers claim the tomato sauce comes in massive plastic bags, cut open and squeezed into tubs like giant ketchup packets. That so-called mozzarella? It's not the fresh kind. It's a processed cheese blend with an aftertaste that clings to your tongue long after you're done. Customers describe boxes so greasy they stain tables, clothes, even car seats. One person compared it to carrying around a leaking oil change in a cardboard box. And the taste? Calling it pizza feels generous. It's more like a $5 circle of regret. Sure, it fills your stomach, but so would a sponge if you drenched it in enough grease. The real question is, would you serve this to your kids or aging parents, knowing it's packed with mystery cheese, frozen dough, and a salt overload that could wreck their health? Now I want to hear from you. What's the worst thing you've ever seen come out of a Little Caesars box? Drop your horror story in the comments, and let's see just how long this list can get. If you thought the last pizza chain was bad, buckle up, because that was just the appetizer. The next stop on this list might completely change the way you look at gas station food. Sliding into number 6 is Sbarro, the pizza you only settle for when Auntie Anne's runs out of pretzels. That's Sbarro in a nutshell. Once a king of mall food courts, today it feels more like the final option before actual starvation. You don't choose it, you stumble into it, like falling through a trapdoor covered with a cheap tablecloth. The slices sit under harsh fluorescent lights, sweating like prisoners waiting for release. The cheese hardens into a rubber mat, the crust stiffens like cardboard left in the rain, and the sauce? Just a thin smear of tomato-flavored water that tastes closer to diluted ketchup than real pizza. But here's the part most people don't know. Sbarro hasn't just struggled with flavor. The chain has filed for bankruptcy multiple times, first in 2011, again in 2014, and even after expensive revamps, it still can't escape its reputation as the pizza nobody actually craves. If taste was the only thing keeping a business alive, this one would have been buried years ago. Ex-staff have shared grim details online, pies reheated again and again until the cheese separates into greasy orange puddles. One former worker admitted, "We'd throw old slices back in the oven until they looked new." Translation? That fresh slice on your tray might already be living its second or third life. Nutritionally, it's just as sad. One slice of Sbarro pizza can deliver 900 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly half the safe limit for some adults, and most people don't stop at just one slice. 2 pieces and a soda, and you're basically drowning your body in salt while calling it dinner. Visually, it doesn't get any better. The so-called New York-style slice folds like drywall, snapping instead of bending. The grease bleeds through the paper plate, leaving polka dot stains on the table beneath. It looks like pizza, but it tastes like survival food in disguise. So let me ask you, how many of you have been trapped into buying Sbarro just because it was the only thing open at the mall? Share your horror stories in the comments. Chances are, you're not alone. And if you think mall pizza is depressing, brace yourself, because the next chain on this list isn't just boring, it's dripping with grease, lawsuits, and nostalgia that's spoiled into disappointment. Coming in at number 5, Pizza Hut. Once a Friday night treat, now more like heartburn in a box. Pizza Hut once meant Friday night excitement, but today? It's more like opening a greasy science experiment in a cardboard box. Customers have posted shocking photos online. Raw, pale dough hiding under toppings, gooey and undercooked like somebody forgot to turn the oven on. Others complain about mix-ups, cold deliveries, missing items, or the wrong order altogether. In one California case, a family even filed a lawsuit after biting into uncooked dough that left them sick. That's not nostalgia, that's negligence. And let's not forget the infamous stuffed crust. Once a fun novelty, now it's basically a nutritional landmine. A single slice can pack more fat than an entire fast food burger meal. Order a large with extra cheese, and you're looking at 350 calories a slice and nearly 700 milligrams of sodium. 2 slices, and you're already blowing past half your daily salt limit before dessert even hits the table. Former employees haven't held back either. One joked online, "The pan pizza isn't baked, it's deep fried in its own grease." And honestly, they weren't exaggerating. Pan crusts sit in pools of oil before baking, so the bottom comes out tasting more like fried chicken skin than bread. Another ex-cook admitted boxes sometimes sat under heat lamps for hours until they smelled more like stale French fries than pizza. Is that dinner, or a science experiment in grease preservation? Yet, people still fall for the red roof nostalgia. Childhood memories, cheesy bread, birthday parties. But here's the cold reality: today's Pizza Hut isn't the sit-down restaurant you remember. It's a conveyor belt of mediocrity, wrapped in cardboard that leaks more grease than flavor. So I'll ask you, what's the worst Pizza Hut disaster you've opened? Raw dough? Cheese sliding off in one piece? A grease puddle so big it could float a breadstick? Share your story in the comments. I guarantee we'll uncover some nightmare boxes. Pizza Hut isn't comfort food anymore. It's disappointment with extra oil. And if you thought this fall from grace was bad, wait until you hear about the next chain. This one has a slogan about better ingredients, better pizza. But the reality? It should say better sugar. Because at number 4, we're talking about Papa John's, the pizza that tastes more like dessert than dinner. Papa John's has a slogan about better ingredients, better pizza. But let's be honest, it should read sweeter sauce, soggier dough and oily regret. And if the taste didn't make you question it, the scandals sure did. The founder John Schnatter tanked his own reputation with racist remarks and a bizarre claim that he ate 40 pizzas in 30 days just to prove the quality was slipping. Think about that. If the man who built the empire admits it's gone downhill, what hope do the rest of us have? And the truth is, the quality depends entirely on the franchise. Some shops manage pies that are edible, but others rush them through ovens so fast the dough comes out raw in the middle, bending like wet cardboard. Whistleblowers online confess they were pressured to push pizzas through during busy nights, leaving half-baked crusts that no amount of garlic dip could save. Speaking of that famous garlic butter cup, fans call it gold, but critics call it liquid regret. A tub of yellow sludge so greasy it leaves fingerprints on the table. Dip a slice in it, and the oil runs down your wrist like lava. Former employees even admitted those tubs sometimes sat out for hours, sweating in plastic containers until they looked more like melted candle wax than food. Nutritionally, Papa John's is no angel either. A single large pepperoni slice hits about 300 calories and nearly 800 milligrams of sodium. Have 2 or 3, dunk them in the butter, and you've blown past your daily salt limit before dessert even comes out of the box. That pounding in your chest? It's not excitement, it's your heart working overtime. So what's the worst Papa John's order you've ever had? Was it the doughy crust? The too sweet sauce? Or maybe a garlic butter cup that looked closer to melted crayons than food? Drop your nightmare story in the comments. I guarantee we'll see some horror shows. But if you thought your arteries survived that round, don't relax just yet. The next chain serves regret with extra cheese and grease. Sliding in at number 3, Domino's. The chain that bragged about fixing its recipe, but forgot to fix the flavor. Back in 2010, Domino's ran that bold campaign. We've changed everything. New crust, new sauce, new cheese. They even admitted in commercials that the old pizza tasted like cardboard. Brave, right? But here's the problem. The new pizza still gets roasted by customers for being rubbery, greasy, and bland. Did they really fix the recipe? Or just the marketing? The cheese is the biggest offender. People say it stretches like plastic wrap and tastes about as exciting. The sauce is thin, watery, and more acidic than rich. And the crust? Let's be real. That famous thin crust doesn't crunch. It cracks, like snapping a sheet of drywall in your hands. And the numbers are terrifying. A large specialty pizza can top 3,500 calories. That's more than a full day's worth of food for some people. The sodium? Off the charts. One medium slice can hit over 700 milligrams. 3 slices later, and your blood pressure isn't just climbing, it's sending postcards from the danger zone. And it doesn't stop at taste or nutrition. Online forums are packed with Domino's horror stories, cold deliveries, missing toppings. Even Domino's is supposed to be dependable. But if you've ever opened one of their boxes, you know it's a gamble every single time. Customers have posted photos of pizzas flipped upside down, toppings piled into one sad corner, and cheese that slid completely off, leaving behind a bare wet crust that looked more like a failed science experiment than dinner. Employees have spilled secrets too. Many admit the cheese comes pre-shredded in massive plastic bags, clumped together until workers rip it apart by hand. Others talk about ovens cranked so high that pizzas come out half-burned on one side and raw on the other. The only thing Domino's seems to deliver consistently is being consistently average. So I'll throw this one to you. What's the worst Domino's pizza you've ever opened? The one that made you swear never again. Drop your greasy war stories in the comments. I bet some of them are scarier than the commercials ever admitted. Domino's isn't the worst chain on this list, but that's exactly the problem. It's not good either. It's the gray zone of pizza, overrated, overhyped and overpriced for what you actually get. And if you think you've survived Domino's mediocrity, think again, because the next chain doesn't just flirt with disappointment. It flirts with disaster. At number 2, Blaze Pizza. Build your own disaster, fresh from the assembly line. Blaze sells itself as artisanal fast casual pizza. In reality, it feels more like cafeteria chaos. Pies slide through conveyor ovens like hospital food rolling down a belt. Instead of a bland tray of mashed potatoes, you're served either a charred frisbee or a limp soggy mess. Fresh and fast? More like burnt and bland. Consistency doesn't exist here. One customer raves about a crispy crust, while another posts a photo of a raw doughy center that looks like somebody forgot to even press start on the oven. Some pizzas come out blackened at the edges. Others collapse in the middle under a swamp of watery toppings. Every order is a round of pizza roulette, and odds aren't in your favor. And it's not just customers. Staff forums are packed with complaints about rushing pies through ovens half-cooked just to keep the line moving. One former worker admitted training was basically, shove it in, hope it cooks. That's not artisanal, that's wishful thinking. Even the hype is misleading. NBA superstar LeBron James backed Blaze, calling it the future of pizza. The idea of building your own pie sounds great, until you take a bite and realize the flavor doesn't live up to the star power. One viral review said it best: I didn't get LeBron-level greatness. I got middle school cafeteria pizza with better lighting. And yes, believe it or not, Blaze has literally run out of cheese at some locations. Picture this. You walk in, design your dream pizza, only to be told the main ingredient doesn't exist today. That's like going to a coffee shop and hearing, sorry, no coffee. Absurd. And that's the ugly truth about Pizza Ranch, where all you can eat quickly turns into all you can regret. Buffets are already a gamble, but here the odds feel stacked against you. Walk past those glowing heat lamps and what you see isn't abundance. It's survival of the fittest. Cheese congeals into rubbery slabs, crusts dry into brittle shells, and chicken sits in that danger zone where bacteria throw a party. Families walk in chasing a deal, but what they often get is a trip to the bathroom, or worse, a trip to urgent care. Think about it. Food inspectors have cited locations for mold, unsafe temps, and filthy prep stations. Ex-employees claim reheated leftovers were served the next day, sometimes more than once. If it wasn't green, it went back out. And reviews echo the same story: customers doubled over with cramps, kids running for the bathroom, entire nights ruined after what was supposed to be a fun family meal. That's not dinner, that's playing Russian roulette with your stomach.